Aloha everyone, Joshua Hayes at bigwavetrading.com. First off, I want to apologize. If you go to Big Wave Trading, log in, go through the site. I believe if you log out right now, it's asking you to re-log in. That's because we're working within some areas of our website to make it even more secure. I mean, we've never ever had an issue even once in our entire 10 plus years of existence, but we're doing some work just to make sure that it's just more ultimately secure. Um, we've had some people give memberships to other people, and we've had some people visiting the site that shouldn't be visiting the site and getting information for free. So we're making sure that we're putting an end to that completely. So first off, my apologies. If you have that issue, we'll get it resolved shortly enough. Now the other issue is the stock market, which if you've been paying attention for the past 2+ weeks of my video lessons and new positions pages, should have everybody completely prepared for this. We've been adding some hedges in the SRTY and the SQQQ. Took that SPY put position. I was shaking out a half of it, but now it's working in the right direction. No big gains there, but at least we're about at the break-even level, and at one point intraday today, I had some pretty nice gains on it already, and that was after it almost hit my 50% stop loss moment. So we've got some hedges out there. I'm adding to one of those hedges that I was talking about today. SRTY showed up in 2 scans, 1% for being in one of the ETF scans. Remember, it's an ETF. Even if it's an add signal, each scan that it makes is a percent. So if it would have made 7 scans, it would have been a 7% position, but since it's an add, it would have been 3.5%. Whereas others, right now, it's 1, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. With ETFs, it's just 1% across the board. So SRTY, since it's an add, it's only 1%, but I'm adding to SRTY 1%, limit order 2349. First cut loss level 2209. Now that I'm getting a bigger position, I will now have 2 stops, 2209 and 2170. But wanted to get that hedge out of the way just to make it clear that this is still the priority side. You can see that the NYSE had sold off today. Nice tail. So today is a technical distribution day across the board, but these are the kind of quote best kind of distribution days, the ones that are kind of tricky if you're just looking at the price losses alone with the volume. But if you look at the intraday overall action, you can see the NYSE, after it pierced the 200, made a nice move right back above it. The S&P 500 finding support on its uptrend line and the 50-day moving average, so nothing really breaking down there. The SPY also, though, you can see the above average volume, but I wanted to show you with the S&P 500, volume was actually below average, even though it was heavier than the day before. But then on the NASDAQ, much higher volume, and all the ETFs, very, very, very large volume, which then brings me to my next point. Once again, I guess we can look at the DIA. It's a little bit more pronounced here. Look at this chart since our sell-off in January. Big, tall red bars. There's one green one right there, but all the bars above the average volume are always distribution. But today's a little tricky with that intraday reversal. Dow Jones Industrial Average at the 50. IWM kind of bouncing around here around the 50. And what's even good news about this, when you look at the NYSE and see what it looks like, the New York Stock Exchange Advanced Decline line is actually holding up very, very well, which confirms the IWM still holding up, and the other indexes making those bounces off those uptrending moving averages and or uptrend lines. So overall, not too bad. And with that being said, let's go into our intraday stops. Got a lot of long signals the previous session. They all triggered, and as you can see, there's a ton of stops here. There's a lot triggered intraday. But to be honest with you, for me personally, it's normal. Big, huge down day, a lot of stops. But the good news is, if we go through them, profit, profit, loss, profit, 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 loss, profit, loss, 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 profit, loss, profit, loss, profit, 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 loss, profit, loss, profit, profit, loss, loss, profit, 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 loss, profit, loss, profit. So right there, you have to go back and count them all up. There appears to be, I believe I said profit more than loss. So once again, the stops that did trigger, the profits took care of the losses, because any of those losses that you see were very small and tiny. Every single one. The dollar loss amount was well below my max pain. And as long as that continues, I'll just let the commissions add up. It's nothing to me. And I'll just continue to work with the market until we eventually either break higher, break lower. If we break lower, I'm starting to build enough hedge positions that it should help mitigate the damage from the drawdown from the account highs. If we break out higher, my stops are so tight on those hedges that the losses will be minor, and the gains that we should get from our long positions that are holding up. While, I mean, look at what gold's doing, and just take a look at some of these metal stocks. I mean, this is just a bloodbath out here in this sector. So our portfolios and accounts sure don't look like that, do they? So it's not that bad out there. Now, with that being said, we're on today's sell signals. CASM, 50% with the close below the 50-day moving average. I mean, just crudely, you want to have 50% here at the least, 25% there, 25% there with CASM. ITGR, 50% here. My final sell stop is right here with ITGR, but it's a 50%er. WLKP is a 50%er. Yeah, 50% here. I got a stop here, and then a final stop right there with WLKP. EFSC is a 50% sell signal. Half right there, a quarter there, remaining for me on EFSC. NSU, 50% right here. I have a quarter here and a quarter there remaining on NSU. DBO, 50% sell signal. Half of what I have left is there. Final sell stop is right there. MERC, 50% sell signal. Could probably do 100, but with BOP holding up in lower volume and me using this as the final sell signal, I'm not issuing it as a 100% end-of-day basis, because while I was knocked out of half, the remaining half that was down here now gets split up. 50% here, the final 50% is still right there with the lower volume in green BOP on today's pullback. Same exact situation with the MJCO. Even though volume was heavier, it's below average, still have max green BOP. I got knocked out of half of it intraday today, as you saw on those intraday stops page. What I have left down here now gets split up in half up here. Final half right there for MJCO. Boom, 50% right there. Final sell stop right there. And then the failures is CRE. I had some stops down here and here that now gets all moved to right there. So my final stop is now 1 cent below that low. IMMU I've already been knocked completely out of. That is a full rollover. Heavier volume confirmation close below the 50-day moving average and the previous low's final sell signal. CEIX fail, closing below the 50-day moving average on heavier volume. PRO confirmation close below the 50-day moving average on above average volume below the previous day's lows with red BOP. So that's a full sell signal. And then MVO, I was knocked out this day because when the red BOP came, I moved my final stop to here on an end-of-day basis. You not only got 3 lower highs in a series of 3 lower lows, but you got a confirmation close below the 50 previous lows on heavier volume. So those are the sell signals. Now, I've already gone over SRTY 1% hedge add, but there actually was 2 new long signals, but they didn't trigger. I had nothing until the final tertiary scan of mine. That's where I just look for any stock up on the day on above average volume with green BOP. And with that being said, HWCC made the scan and LSI made the scan. You can see longer term chart. Pretty solid uptrend off those July-August lows. HWCC, very nice uptrend off those October lows. Pretty good Zoom 3 chart here on HWCC. With it being in the tertiary scan and looking up, seeing that it is CAN-SLIM quality, 1% for CAN-SLIM quality. And since it's in the tertiary volume surge scan, I'll give it an extra 0.25%, especially since my risk is so well contained. So I want to get long HWCC, 1.25% of my account capital, limit order 820, first cut loss 795, final cut loss 765. Very, very, very clear cut. Bullish candle over candle, heavier volume with BOP confirmation, pocket pivot point signal off strong support. LSI continuation pattern, almost a cup and handle short term cup with handle pattern. That's the cup, that's the handle, proper handle with the lower volume and the breakout coming with higher volume. BOP is going wrong way, but at least it's green. The previous uptrend, look at all these open body candle bars. A lot of bullish intraday work, and whenever it did start selling off, strong support at the 50. Now I got the cup with handle, LSI, want to get long, limit order 98.65. First cut loss, right there, 97.04, keep it kind of tight, then 96, and then really loose final stop, 93.13. But once again, same with HWCC. The first level goes before the last level comes into play, just like I showed you with MJCO and MERC. I'll be consolidating, moving up stops immediately. All right, everyone. I'll see you in the chat room on Thursday. Aloha.